What's going on, fellow gamblers? Welcome back to Straight Betting. Today is Friday, March 20th. Happy Friday. In today's video, guys, I do have 4 official picks for today. And of course, we'll be going over the slate, breaking down each and every game, going over my leans. Before I get into the recap, guys, if you don't mind, make sure to hit that like button, sub to the channel, and comment down below what your favorite picks are for today, or just really comment down below anything, guys. All 3 of those things do help boost the algo. And if you guys do want me to be able to, do these videos in the long haul, little stuff like that does go a long way. So it is very, very greatly appreciated. With that being said, guys, let's get into the recap of yesterday. So guys, I know I'm asking you to like the video and stuff, and I just keep on stinking the bed. Really rough stretch. But to be honest, guys, I'm at the point where I do feel like I am getting pretty numb to it. This might sound kind of bad, but I really don't even care about the losing, just because I'm beating the market consistently, getting good CLV. I feel very strongly about my reads. They're just not winning, but what can you do, man? I feel like at the end of the day, the tide will turn, guys, and move. It's going to be beautiful when that tide does eventually turn, and it's coming, guys. Might not be today, might not be tomorrow, but it's coming. First official pick of the day, guys. I am going over to Atlanta and Houston, and I am going with Dyson Daniels, and I'm taking him over 16.5 points and assists. So, guys, this line is at 17.5. What I personally would do is, I don't think that this is actually going to beat the market. I don't think this is going to get good closing line value, because this is I know ball play, not this line is just subjectively too low play, good matchup data behind it. So I would personally wait for this to go back down to 16.5 or 10.5 points. Feel very, very strongly that you get one of those for sure. So anyways, guys, reasoning behind Dyson Daniels is, pretty simple. Ime Udoka is a guy who will absolutely put, Alperen Sengun on a non-shooter if the matchup is justified for it. And so we saw the Hawks against the Rockets this year, and this was actually a game without Jalen Johnson. He absolutely stunk the bed. No Onyeka Okongwu. Guys, Christian Koloko was in the starting lineup, so they did not put Sengun on him in the first matchup. But with Onyeka healthy, with this fully healthy Hawks team, I think Ime is a smart coach, is definitely going to put one of his wings on Onyeka. Onyeka is not going to bully Tari Eason, Jabari Smith down low. But, those wings will be able to take away the wide open threes. So I feel very, very strongly about Dyson Daniels getting guarded by Alperen Sengun for a good amount of possessions here. And obviously, guys, that's just going to lead to Dyson being used as a screener more. Of course, he can take him off the bounce. It's basically him getting ignored. So the usage is going to be forced. We can see 2 games against the Hawks, or not against the Hawks, against the Rockets last year. He had 2 really good PA games. One game he had 12 points, 4 for 12 shooting, 16 potentials. The other game he obviously just absolutely crushed with 19 and 10 assists. And as you guys can see here, Dyson, he's been in good form. I don't really care too much about being in good form personally, but if you look at the games that were competitive, right? This is really should be a competitive game. 3.5 point spread. The Hawks have been on an absolute roll. Houston, I don't expect them to lose by margin. I also don't expect them to win by margin. That's just kind of how the Rockets are built. So if you do Dyson with I think I did 28 to 37 minutes or so with Jalen, with Nikhil, with CJ, and with Onyeka, the hit rate's nothing too crazy, but it is at 55.6%. But yeah, like I said, guys, the reason I'm playing this is I just have a very, very strong conviction that he gets guarded by Sengun here, and that's just going to force him to be involved. All right, guys, next official play, I went with Jrue Holiday, and I took him over 19.5 points and assists. I would scale down personally to a half unit if you do need to get that 20.5 PA line. So this is definitely a nice buy low. If you want to look at his closing line the last couple games. So Indiana, which had a massive spread on it, he did close at 21.5 against Brooklyn, which was the second night of a back-to-back, and quite frankly, not a great matchup for him as a pick and roll heavy player. He closed at 21.5. Then he closed at 21.5 against Philly, 22.5 against Utah, 22.5 against Charlotte, 24.5 against Indy, 23.5 against Houston. But that was before Denny came back. So yeah, guys, I think you're getting a really, really nice buy number, man. 2 points less than where it was closing for sure. If we want to go look at the Wolves matchup, they have played the Wolves 3 times, guys, and I'll do 2 of them were with Denny Avdia, which is obviously worth noting. And in those 2 games, he had 21 PA, did not shoot the ball particularly well in this first one, going 5 for 15. And then the second game, he absolutely crushed, right? 23 points, 9 for 22 shooting, 5 assists on 10 potentials. But guys, the thing I'm looking at here is look at that usage rate in the 2 games with Denny, man. 29.5%. That is up 7% from a season average. And obviously, guys, that makes sense, right? Because we know how the Wolves are. If you get usage, if you're a guard, if you're on ball, you're going to get your shots up, right? They allow the most points to pick and roll handler, fewest to spot up, which I know Jrue definitely does spot up a little bit, but for the most part, he is an on-ball guy. So I think this is definitely a pretty damn good matchup. So guys, where I have him at is I do expect this game, just like the Houston Hawks game. I do fully expect this one to be competitive, man. I mean, the Wolves don't have Ant. It's in Minnesota, but there's only a 2.5 point spread. The Blazers are pretty healthy, playing good hoops. So guys, what I did is games with Denny Avdia and games with Jeremy Grant. I do think that, in a competitive game, you'll probably see him around like that 31 to 32 minute range. So guys, what I did was I did 26 to 35 minutes. And in games with Denny and Jeremy Grant, as you guys can see, he's over this line in 12 out of 16 games. He's averaging 23.6 points and assists. Like I said, guys, I always like to cross-reference this stuff against my projection tool. So guys, if you just do Jrue Holiday per 31 minutes this year, like straight up, I mean, they're pretty healthy right now. Jrue Holiday's pretty much played like when they were pretty much healthy, like all of his games and stuff. He's like been the one who's been hurt. So yeah, I mean, Jrue's at 17.4 points per 31. He's at 6.6 assists. He's at 24 PA. So yeah, guys, I think that Jrue Holiday is in a really, really good spot for not only his minutes, but also like his matchup should lead to a fair bit of usage. And you're just getting like a really, really good buy number at this 19.5 PA line. So going to Jrue Holiday for the second official play. Everything kind of checks the box here for this Jrue look. And guys, before I get into my third official pick, as always, guys, make sure to check out my site, straightbetting.com. It has a ton of resources for you guys. If you want to know how I actually found these Jrue, or not found, but was reminded of this Jrue and Dyson look, I looked at my wide open tracker and I was just like looking at this morning. I was like, oh yeah, Ime Udoka will, they'll absolutely guard Sengun with like a non-shooter if the matchup makes sense. And instead of putting him on Onyeka, you're going to put him on Dyson. So I looked at that and I was like, oh yeah, Dyson's probably in a pretty damn good spot. I also was just like, teams that never double. Oh, the Wolves, right? Okay, probably a pretty good spot for like the Denny's, the Jrues. So then I looked into Jrue and stuff like that. So yeah, of course, guys have the funnels for the matchups and stuff as well, on-off data, just like a ton of stuff, guys. So make sure to check out my site, straightbetting.com. All right, guys, third official pick here. I went with Christian Braun and I took him under 12.5 points. So I would definitely scale down to half unit. But guys, if you can get like a price better than -110 for 11.5, I think that's also good for half unit. So reasoning behind this Christian Braun play, man, is I was like looking at his over last game, right? He ended up closing at 12.5, but Aaron Gordon did sit, and that's why I went to 12.5. Guys, he was sitting at 11.5 against Memphis, which I was so close to playing. And obviously I'm a dumbass for not playing because he literally doubled that line, had 26 points. But guys, he's coming off of like two absolute cupcake matchups against both the 76ers and the Memphis Grizzlies. Like really, really bad paint defenses, really, really bad transition defenses, just really shitty defenses in general. So guys, if we want to go down here to the Raptors matchup, what sticks out to me the most is their transition defense. They are the second best transition defense, guys. That is where Christian Braun scores 35% of his points, which is also crazy. Another thing here, guys, is I was looking at my assisted basket percentage this morning, last 10 games. As you guys can see here, the Toronto Raptors allow the lowest assisted basket percentage over the last 10 games. So what that means, man, is that they're kind of playing single coverage, letting like the high usage guys get theirs, get their shots up and stuff like that. So if you just like click on Denver, as you can see here, obviously Christian Braun there's a lot of guys who have pretty high assisted basket percentages, but Christian Braun's up there at 84% of his baskets being assisted. So, should get a good mix of like single coverage from the Raptors, I'm thinking. Also, not very many transition opportunities. So I think that little combination there is like a pretty damn like bad spot for Christian Braun. Another thing you guys can do here, guys, is I do expect this game to be close. So if we do Christian Braun with 30 plus minutes, but with Gordon, Murray, and Jokic, as you guys can see here, he is under this line in 8 out of 10 games. He's only averaging 11 points. If you look at the games he went over, one of them was against the Kings, which makes sense. I mean, they're just like a brutal defense. But yeah, man, this definitely should not be like a really good matchup. I mean, on the year, they're a pretty solid paint defense. They're 7th in defensive rating, 22nd in pace. So yeah, guys, I mean, the Raptors are just like a good defense. But yeah, I think it's like the transition thing is what really pops to me, man. And I also just think that this line is in a pretty good sell spot. Feel pretty strongly that he's going to close like really juiced to the under at 11.5 too. All right, guys, fourth official play. This one's a little bit of a different split, but I went with Neemias Queta and I took him over 19.5 points and rebounds for a half a unit. And then I also took his double-double at plus 220 for half a unit. I think both of these current prices are still completely fine here. Pretty widely available at 19.5, which is definitely good. But guys, if you go to my funnel sheet, go to game view, Grizzlies versus Celtics. I mean, holy shit, dude. Attacking the Grizzlies defense. Like, let's look at this, man. Second most field goals made from less than 10 feet. Second highest shot frequency from less than 10 feet. They're just getting absolutely crushed down low. They're allowing the second most opponent offensive rebounds. Obviously, guys, like Joe Mazzulla really instructs like Neemias and Luka Garza to crash the offensive glass. So obviously they are popping up here. And then restricted area field goals made over the last 10 games. Like that's Neemias Queta scores 76.2% of his points there. That's like the most on the Celtics by a wide margin. And then opponent points per game. They're also just like a terrible defense who plays super fast. So guys, basically, I just think you can't really like make up a better matchup for Neemias here. So I'm going to be honest with you guys. If we go to since Vucevic went out, actually guys, so yeah, if you go to like this Dallas game, which Vucevic played like 2 minutes. So since Vuce went out here, Neemias' minutes have definitely like looked better. If you want to go here, you can see that he's been averaging 28.6 over like the last 7 games since Vuce went out. His median minutes is around 28. He did play 31 minutes in that game against the Wizards, 28 against like a blowout win against the Warriors too. So like I'm not like super concerned about like his minutes being affected by a blowout, but obviously you do want to like factor that in a little bit. So guys, I gave him 24 to 31 minutes. That was like my projection for him here, like around that 27, 28 minute mark. And if you just max this out, guys, like, you know, it is under a 50% hit rate, but at the same time, he is at 20.9 PR. Like I said, guys, this is just truly an elite matchup. The matchup that is similar, the most similar to the Grizzlies at this point is going to be the Wizards, right? Two teams that aren't really like running center minutes, two teams that are just getting absolutely crushed on both the glass and in the paint. So he just played the Wizards pretty recently and just put up 24 and 10. So, man, I just think it's like this is like a very comparable matchup to that. And I just think that this is such like an elite spot for Neemias Queta, man, where I had to play it. Like I said, the hit rate isn't exactly going to pop, but at the same time, like I just cannot ignore how damn good of a matchup this is. Okay, guys, gonna break down every single game now. So Pistons and Warriors, this game actually has a pretty close spread at 5.5. I'll be honest, guys, I didn't really like much here. The one opinion that I had here was De'Anthony Melton. I just kind of think you're getting to the point where he's pretty low, man. Like the last competitive game, he actually played 30 minutes in. So the Warriors obviously are pretty decimated. I mean, he closed 14.5 against the Celtics, 16.5 against the Wizards. But if you do since February, obviously, guys, since February is when Steph Curry joined Jimmy Butler on the injury report here. So since February, guys, De'Anthony Melton, I do think this is going to be like a somewhat competitive game, and like 28 is probably a good projection. He is just at 17 points. So yes, the Kristaps element is what ultimately kept this off here. I think he's been like pretty damn high usage, and it's definitely like a wrinkle in like the Warriors offense from how they were playing before. And also I think there is a chance that he draws the Asar Thompson assignment, which would obviously be like completely brutal. But De'Anthony Melton was like the one thing in this game that popped, so I thought I'd give it a shout. Going on to Knicks and Nets, guys, the one thing that popped, and I know this is like so gross, dude. I do think you're getting to a point though where Mikal Bridges at 12.5 points is pretty interesting. I mean, this is like really a good spot. You know, we know that the Nets are going to be aggressive against Brunson, force some spot up looks, force the other guys to beat them. They played Mikal 33 minutes last game. He was actually running with like the third stringers a little bit. Mike Brown literally said like, we are trying to get him some extra looks and stuff. Now he just is like clearly in his head. He's been really bad. Mikal Bridges has been. But obviously, guys, that is definitely giving you a discount, right? Like if you do games with Cat, with Brunson, with Anunoby, without Hart, I mean, look at where he's closed, bro. Like 14.5, 15.5, 14.5, 14.5, 15.5, 15.5. Like literally his like worst closing line was at 14.5, man. So this is obviously a very good spot where they, you know, they can afford to be intentional because of like the projected game state with a 17.5 point spread. They can definitely afford to be intentional with trying to get Mikal Bridges involved. I also think the matchup is just good, right? Terrible defense. They give a ton to spot up, ton of transition. That's 60% of Mikal Bridges' points right there. So yeah, it's tough, man. It's really a tough click. But like one thing, I do think this will probably close at 13.5. And then the second thing, man, it's just like a really good spot for them to be intentional about getting Mikal going. Now, here's the thing. I don't really think he's going to play more than 33 minutes. So this is what ultimately kept me off of it. If you do like 25 to 33 minutes and then like with Cat, with Brunson, with Anunoby, I mean, dude, like his hit rate is terrible, right? I mean, like he's only averaging 11.3 points in this sample. So yeah, I ultimately ended up not playing it because of this. But with that being said, man, like you really can't make up like a better get right spot for Mikal Bridges, and you're getting a really good price. Like it's probably going to close 13.5 too. So yeah, that's my thoughts there on Mikal, dude. It's tough click. Mo Diawara, I actually was a little bit surprised to see his lines pop up. Only 6 minutes last game, which is definitely a little bit discouraging, but you know, in theory, it's probably a decent Mo Diawara spot, maybe a solid live angle if like the script's definitely going into fruition. Hawks and Rockets, guys, really don't have any thoughts here outside of that Dyson Daniels look. I did think, you know, off rip, maybe you could sell yourself. And if you guys have this Durant at 23.5 line, I do think that is a pretty solid look. First of all, game should be competitive. Hawks more so are a single coverage team. Like if you go to like their like last 15 stuff, they're giving up like a lot to pull up, not really a ton of catch and shoot, which is definitely solid. They give up a lot to isolation on the year, which is definitely good for KD. So guys, if you have this 23.5 line for KD, I think you're getting a nice buy low spot just because of how damn aggressive the Lakers were on him, right? Obviously, he wasn't going to have good games there. But yeah, 23.5 points for Durant. If you guys have that, man, I think that's definitely a very solid look as well. Going on to Celtics and Grizzlies, guys, the other opinions I had on this one is I kind of want to wait and see the starting lineup and make sure that Taylor Hendricks isn't starting alongside of Prosper. You know, they're not going to have Gigi Jackson here. Bomax, if he's starting at the 5, is definitely going to be the one who gets guarded by Queta. So his threes are going to be a very, very solid look. But if Taylor Hendricks also gets a start alongside of Omax, then I could maybe see a world where they actually leave, where they guard Taylor Hendricks with the center, and that would kind of like make me not like the Prosper look as much. So wait for the starting lineups on this one, guys. And I think like if you see Omax starting like alongside, Wells, Coward, Jerome, and, someone else who is like semi-competent, maybe like a Cam Spencer or like a Javon Small, then take Omax's threes. But yeah, Taylor Hendricks, if he's going to start in place of GG, I think could maybe throw a wrinkle to that. So that was my one thought. Another thing, guys, is, I think this is probably, Luka Garza alongside Neemias Queta. If you guys want to personally go with Luka Garza, I wouldn't hate that as well. We don't have props out for him yet. The reason why I was cool with going with Neemias here is just because Luka Garza is coming off of like such a damn good game against the Warriors. I think that his props are going to be probably priced pretty efficiently, but I do think this is like a very, very solid spot for Luka Garza as well. So guys, going on to Blazers Wolves. So Wolves are obviously like a single coverage team. They're not going to give up much to catch and shoot. They're going to stay home on like shooters, whatever. It's going to be like the Denny Jrue show and shit like that probably. Blazers also, guys, are like actually like playing a pretty similar defense. As you can see, they're allowing the fewest points to catch and shoot as well. So they've actually been like limiting spot up all year too, not giving up catch and shoot. I do think that they defend Randall pretty straight up. So guys, Julius Randle's definitely in a solid spot, right? His hit rates without Ant have been incredible. His on-off stuff without Ant has also been like very, very like good too. So I do slightly lean over on Randle. The only thing here that is kind of putting me off on it is I do think that he draws Tamani Kamara as his individual assignment. And I do think Tamani's the type of dude that could give Julius Randle some trouble. But with that being said, I still do lean over on Julius here. Another guy who I do think is in a pretty good spot is going to be Jaden McDaniels. Like I said, not really a big fan of like the Dante spot. I think if you go to like last 10, you can see the Blazers they're not really giving up many 3-pointers attempted allowed whatsoever. So I don't think that's ideal for like Bones. Don't think it's ideal for DDV either. So I do think this is a pretty good spot for Jaden. With Ant out, he'll get some pick and roll reps. He'll be able to like work that mid range with like Klingon and Robert Williams in the drop coverage. And also similarly to Julius Randle, right? He's had really good head-to-head games too, which is pretty cool to see. But also if you do without Ant-Man, he's averaging 18.4 points. He's over this line in 8 out of 12 games. So do think this is a pretty good spot for Jaden McDaniels as well. On the Blazers side of things, guys, I was pretty close to playing some Donovan Klingon unders. If you do like with Denny, obviously, guys, Robert Williams is playing. There's no back-to-backs involved. At 24 to 30 minutes, his PRA hit rate is fine at like 11 out of 28. But guys, like his under points, I think is a pretty damn good look. At like if you guys can snag a 12.5 here, I would absolutely recommend this. An under 14.5 PA2. I also think is a pretty damn good look, man. Like I don't think this is like Rudy Gobert is a tough matchup for him. Like Klingon's gonna have to hit threes to go over this line. So yeah, if you go to like head to head against the Wolves, so he had one game where without Robert Williams and without Denny, where he did have 11 points, but he's really struggled to score the rock here against the Wolves and in that Rudy Gobert matchup. So I do think some like Klingon under points, under PA is also two really, really solid looks in this one as well. A little sneaky one, guys, could be some Rudy Gobert assists. He played the Blazers a couple times this year, and I know it didn't really pop there, but last game made 64 passes, which is just like absurd. Had 5 potential assists, 4 assists. And yeah, it's just like the Klingon and the deep drop thing. Rudy Gobert can flash to the top of the screen, give like McDaniels like a little handoff, give, Julius a handoff, whatever, give Dante a handoff, and get some assists out of that. So that's a little sneaky look. Rudy, 1.5 assists. It's not widely available, but I definitely don't hate that, man. He should play some like really good minutes. Yeah, this Rudy one actually looks pretty damn good the more I look at it, and without Ant, yeah. Cool. Well, that's kind of my thoughts here. Do you think Denny's line's pretty efficient at that 23.5? Going on to Raptors and Nuggets, guys. So another under that I think I'm decently high on is going to be the Cam Johnson under. So similarly to Christian Braun, right? Raptors are not giving up a lot of catch and shoot stuff. They're not giving up like a lot of assisted basket stuff. Not giving up a lot of transition stuff either. Cam is like somewhat reliant on scoring via transition as well. And yeah, Cam Johnson, he's been good as of recent, but like that's coming on like 3 for 3 from deep against like a terrible Sixers defense. The Lakers game was definitely legit. Same with like that Rockets game. But for the most part, guys, in games with Gordon, Jokic, and Murray, he is going under a whole lot more than he isn't. And like I said, don't think this is an amazing spot for the role players here on Denver. On the Raptors side of things, guys, I don't think I had anything too crazy, except for I think that RJ Barrett's like in a pretty good look. Denver does give up like the 3rd most points to spot up. They give up a lot of threes attempted like over like the last 10 games. And guys, RJ Barrett just playing like really, really good minutes, bro. So like if you do like his per minute stuff, I would actually probably have him for like 33 minutes here. So if we go to the Toronto Raptors and we just do like RJ Barrett per 33 minutes, guys, he is at 5.5 threes attempted, 1.9 3-pointers made. So yeah, RJ closed at like what? Like, I mean, he's at 19.5 points. He closed at 21.5 last game. That was obviously a massive blowout. But he did play like 39 minutes against the Pistons, 35 against the Suns. So like I might even be like a tad bit low, and you can maybe even like project like 34. Then he's up to 5.7 threes attempted. And yeah, I definitely think this is like a really solid like matchup for RJ as well, man. Like the Nuggets they just tend to give up like a ton of like catch and shoot stuff, man. They really try to take away stuff at the rim. They're not good at it because they don't have rim protection. But they'll give up a lot of like pull-up jumpers, catch and shoot stuff as well. So, all right, guys, that's going to do it. As always, I do appreciate you guys for tuning in. Make sure to drop a like, comment down below, sub to the channel on your way out. It is very, very, very greatly appreciated. With that being said, guys, it will be live tonight around 6 o'clock, breaking down the slate. You know, hopefully we can get some good luck on our side, man. I know it's been rough and stuff, but at the end of the day, dude, I'm really making an effort to just like start to like have fun with this and, you know, not be so result focused, because I know I'm good at this. I know I have like a decent amount of like knowledge to give and stuff. But that's also not to like excuse how like damn bad it has been recently. But like I said, I do feel fully confident that we can turn this around. So yeah, with that being said, guys, it's Friday. Hopefully you guys have a great day, and I will catch you guys later.